Okay, it's 5 o'clock on Tuesday, the 11th of February, 2020. Right? All right, this is LDR 300 Zoom session for week 5. Wow, week 5. This term is flying by. Don't you agree? All right, let me pull up our screen here. And we'll start here real quick. Okay, so you should see the LDR 300 Moodle screen. Not much changes here. I have put out some new words. Excuse me a bit. I'm going to sneeze here just a second. I guess not. Excuse me. In other words, I put out an announcement today. You'll want to check that out. That's in the announcement sections. Plus, it comes to you, should come to you as an email, and I'll talk about that in just a second. The Zoom sessions continue to be loaded up here, and as always, in your weeks, scroll down here to week 5. You'll see here are your PowerPoint slides. Recommend you take a look at them, and I certainly recommend you keep them because, again, keep the text, keep the PowerPoint slides, because you're definitely going to use the text and the information for your next class, your case studies class, where you go in and pull an article out of the Wall Street Journal every week and get one to you. I'll even tell you, you're going to use the textbook in all your other courses here as well, whether that's the teamwork or conflict and the like. I'm about ready to start after we're done, the second portion of spring. I'm going to be taking over LDR 490. Is that right? Yeah, 490, which is your leadership capstone course. This will probably be the last iteration of the course as it's currently configured, which means we use 2 textbooks, one from J.W. Marriott wrote one, and then the former commanding officer / CEO of Salvation Army wrote an autobiography as well. So you have a for-profit and a not-for-profit book that goes through the history of the organization and some major high points of it and what they've learned. It becomes a terrific primer as far as covering with you all, with you, the students, the leadership principles, traits, models, and the like that you've learned over your time in University of Mount Hall. It becomes more of a Socratic method, which is to say it's since they're not textbooks, you're not learning new material per se. What you are doing is you're aligning what you've read in these 2 textbook or autobiographies with what you've learned. And so now having to identify good leadership techniques, areas of concern, things that you would have been able to highlight or advise Marriott or the Salvation Army to do or not do in a particular case based on the leadership principles you've learned to date. So it becomes really a very fun class, and you do most of the talking and the like. So again, hold on to these because, and you're just going to use them. Again, I know you can't keep all your textbooks. Well, you probably can, but don't want to. Certainly keep a couple from your time undergraduate, put in your professional library. Now, if that is, you got them on electronic, that's fine. It doesn't have to be an old school, library, but certainly needs to be material you can readily access and refer back to. Because again, when your time's done here in this course, certainly with LDR 300, man, we're just barely scraping the surface on a whole range of things that that is used as part of leadership. I mean, we're not even really going to get into ethics very much. We're not going to get into a lot of psychology, although we'll get into animal. We do get a little deeper into teamwork, get a lot deeper into conflict, get a lot deeper into change, get a lot deeper into, well, like I said, the case studies, which gives you a chance to reinforce main principles and points that you've had here. Anyway, okay, so for week 5, you got your questions here. Storytelling is a powerful means of communicating. Okay, so get into communication. What is a good medium for telling a story? Okay, what is active listening? So, you know, one of the techniques to use as you're going through these questions is put the definition right there in your answer. So, you know, one of the first things you can say is, hey, the importance of storytelling as such a powerful means of communicating for a leader. Let's take a look at just what is it. The text defines storytelling as, and then pull it out of the text. Okay, that does 2 things for me. One, or for you, one is it shows me that you're referencing the text and you bring it into your answer, which again is the whole purpose of these marked requirements, these areas where you're getting a grade. It's designed for you to apply the learning objectives, which happen to be terms, definitions, models, principles, traits. Okay, so that does one thing for you. The second is I found if you can narrow in and make the definition, that causes you now to think about the question as it's been asked. And that really makes transitioning into an answer a lot simpler, because now you've almost primed the pump, so to speak. So just a technique you might consider, all right? Okay, discussion number 2 is on chapter 10, leading teams. So we're talking about high-performing teams that can facilitate key decision-making. So you read the chapter and then think of your own experience. What was one best practice you saw a leader use as a successful team? Now, you can also argue this in the negative by identifying a worst practice you observed, where the leader, for whatever reason, interjected something that created dysfunction and had to be corrected before the team could even get to the performing stage of team development. All right, so it should be a lot of fun. I mean, these are fun questions, and get after them. I mean, you know, this is one where as you're answering, you know, get into depth on the question. Don't just nod out and say, hey, storytelling is a powerful means of communicating because it's a powerful means of communicating. I mean, you know, answer the question and show some depth to your answer. Okay. All right. A lot of you are doing that. Okay. Some, I just recommend that you try it. Okay. Again, as always, post your response on Wednesday, which would be tomorrow, and then post to others. Now, most of you are still doing that. Okay. And I'm pleased to see it. Some of you are not, you're doing your post, but you're not going back and commenting on your fellow learners. So, you know, I'm tracking these. I shouldn't have to. This is part of the course. This is your work. Okay, you're learning to be leaders. So leaders apply and meet the requirements. Okay, self-reflective summary report. 9.1 on page 264 and 10.2, page 307, and again, the summary discussion and personal reflection that I'm after. That goes into Saturday due. And then, of course, have your quiz done. The quiz will open on Wednesday. I finished writing the questions for that, and should be pretty good. And then you get 30 minutes, one attempt, and by gum, you got to have that thing done by 1500 on Sunday, okay? A lot of you still coming in and asking me, times and when things are due. Hey, it's been this way the entire class. Now, what's happening here is some of you are going in, you're seeing something still open, and you think, oh, okay, it's still open. And the problem is that I've had to reopen certain functions on Moodle for your fellow students who missed a deadline for whatever reason, whether that's an illness or an issue with the family or what have you. Okay. So what happens is I'll go into Moodle and I'll reopen something, then I'll grant that student an extension, and it's in Moodle as an extension for that student. Unfortunately, there's no other way I can block anybody else from taking it that I haven't approved. So part of this is on you. If you see something that's still open, take a hard look and see when the deadline was. If it's past the deadline, then come clean and let me know. All right. Again, the policy for University of Mount All is that late work is not accepted. There is no makeup work. Okay. That said, the dean understands that there are certain exigencies that occur, things that happen out of your control. And so he has allowed the adjunct faculty, which is what I am, certain authorities to go in and extend a deadline or help you out. Okay, that doesn't mean it's not going to come without penalty. There can be. Okay, mostly in my case, I'll penalize, a percentage point right off the top, or 10%, or whatever it is. Excuse me. If it's something I feel that you could have avoided happening. And think back, if you're the leader of an organization and you missed the deadline, and you fail to inform your people of the deadline and force it, hey, that's on you, right? As the leader. So we're using this as kind of in part, you're training. In part, the deadlines are there to make sure the work gets turned in. Obviously, if you had no deadline, work would get in when you saw fit. Many of you would get it in early, which I appreciate. Others, I think, you wait till the last minute. I know in my undergraduate work, there was times where I kind of waited till the last minute too, but in my defense, I wasn't in a leadership class. Anyway, the other is that certain things have to happen in order to provide you a grade. In the case of the discussion forum, we want you to get your post in, and then that way everybody's posts are in, and then give you a couple days that you can go back and engage others in a conversation. Not unlike you would in a live classroom. Okay, this is your opportunity. Okay, go in and see what other people have said. Go back and see what I've posted as opposed to what others have. And then, make your judgments on there. Hey, you're an expert on leading teams or communication, or you found a certain principle that you really thought was unique or very valuable. Hey, by all means, share it. And approach it like you're the instructor here. Okay. Try to get away from the, hey, great post, John or Jim, and I think I agree 100%. Hey, okay, that's feedback, but it's not much of feedback. Going back in and saying, hey, I agree, did you consider this? Or I don't think you fully understood what the question was, or you know what I'm getting at. A lot of you are very good about picking out errors where that I made, and I appreciate that. And I'm not sitting here saying I get it right all the time. So certainly call me out. But try to work through it as an instructor. See what you get out of it. Okay. All right. Week 5. Okay. Then 6. And then 7, you know, look here at 7, because that's 1 week out from your self-reflective, I'm sorry, your leadership effectiveness paper. What I put in the announcement, I'm scrolling to the top of the screen, is the scoring rubric for that paper. Okay, clicking on that, you'll see an attached PDF file, and that has the rubric. Hitting that, and you've got the, no, I'm sorry, I didn't share that. Okay, then this, you should be able to see the leadership effectiveness paper grading rubric. Okay. So out of your 30 points, 21 are right here that I've just highlighted. Okay. An introduction paragraph, a concluding paragraph, importance of effective leadership, leader development, leadership concepts, 3 major leadership concepts, 3, and then a few others. Yes.
Clint Deviney.
Hey, Clint, come on in. Hold on here just a second. Let me. Okay, got a fellow student joined us, so we're going to go through. We're going to take a break from the grading rubric here for a second, and we're going to go and show you how to set up a Zoom. So, as you all can see, and as you can see, putting in the upper right-hand corner, you see a screen. You see me? All right, well, that's what your phone's going to look like. And then you can adjust the background on it, however you want to do it. Do you have a Zoom app loaded on there?
Just loaded it up.
Okay, so if you're loaded and you want to join, I got to show you where to go. So hold on here. All right. So we're getting them loaded up. You can have it on your phone. I've got it on my phone. And once you've got the app up and running, when it comes time to join, you got to have the code to get into that particular meeting. And when you're ready, I'll show you the code. You got it? Okay, so the code, when it asks you, okay, what do you want to do? You want to join a meeting. And your code is right here. Okay. 682-189-4365.
Just the numbers, right? Just the numbers.
Yep, just the numbers. You should already be in the app, so you don't need to do the whole URL, although you could. You could go through like your Safari or whatnot. And what will happen is when you connect in, it'll pop up on my screen.
Okay.
So we'll just wait and see if you, there you go, gotcha.
Okay.
And there you are. Okay, so what you can do is you can play with your video feed, and then it'll ask you, how do you get up on audio? Normally you want to do the internet audio.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't get too close to me because you'll cause
Feedback. You're okay.
I would just give you warning.
Okay. Now see how.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Now see how. I'm going to do it. I turned mine on.
Yeah, hold on. You're good. Hold on. Okay, leave yours alone now. Turn your volume up.
Uh-huh.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
On that? On that?
Mhm.
Okay. All right, so then, yeah, you have the ability to even put a photograph behind you. So like if you're at home and you're in a dirty room or something, you can put a green screen on it. It's kind of fun.
Okay.
Okay, you're now in Zoom.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, I was just
I
wondering how
haven't-
this was going to work. Now I know how it's going to work. I was like, you put the PowerPoint up, you discuss the PowerPoint as you're in the.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So manage participants. You've got it's a little tough on your phone, but you'll have the ability to click yes, no, go slow, go fast, thumbs up, thumbs down.
Mm-hmm.
You can mute your phone so that if you got a lot of background noise, you're not interrupting the meeting. Okay. And so we got you. Okay. So let's go ahead and finish up. What I was talking about was I was just getting to have a seat and be comfortable if you want. And what I was going to at this point was the grading rubric for your week 8 paper I just posted today. And the blue highlighted area is area that is worth 21 points of the 30. And I was just going through the requirement. So all these introduction paragraph talking about leadership importance, concepts, 3 major leadership concepts presented in the course that you thought were of great importance. Your strengths and weaknesses. Okay. What have you been working on all term that gave you an assessment of your strengths and weaknesses? Well, you're turning them in every week, the self-insight, right? So you're going to pull some of that into your paper. So you've already kind of written part of your paper. And then developing others. How you plan to put it into practice. The 3 methods of developing others. And again, get a little bit more beyond, well, I'm going to develop others by improving their communication skills. Well, yeah, okay, I got that. How are you going to do that? What was something you learned out of the communication chapter that informed you on how to improve people's communication? What did the text tell you about face-to-face as being more effective on certain things than email? Okay, how many of us work in areas where people email each other and they're only sitting right next to each other? Okay, so that's worth, and then organization and structure is worth 5 points in your paper. Style and grammar is worth another 4. And that all adds up to 30 points. And that's how your paper's got to get scored. Now, I'm not an English major, okay, but I know enough. And I recommend everybody, make sure you spell check your paper and make sure you proofread your paper, okay? All right, so let me cover a couple things as we get this close to, we got about 5 more minutes then, and then we're going to end the Zoom session. But, so as you saw, Clinton, if you just tube it up on your phone right there, you could be in your car and, hey, I've got a question on whatever. Okay, so really happy you dropped by. And, stay if you want. Oh, good for you. Yeah, you're out there off of Potty. Oh, are you? Off the Potty Green post. I need to transfer my membership. What's the best? Just email you?
Yes, just email me.
Okay.
I'll need your membership number and your card.
Yeah, I do. I have it on me, but let me get my dues in. I haven't paid this year.
Okay.
But I'm a member of a post that my mother-in-law was the key auxiliary, and she's out of it now, and so I need to I need to get local.
Okay.
And good. Well, thank you.
Love to have you. Come on by.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right. Well, thanks for coming by. Keep up the good work.
Appreciate
Do
it.
great stuff.
Thanks.
Okay. Well, that was awful nice here, everybody. Clinton, one of your fellow students, joined us. And anyway, on the screen, you should see 10% of conflicts are due to difference in opinion. 90% are due to the wrong tone of voice. It's kind of funny, but probably true, okay? And then a nice Calvin and Hobbes cartoon. I'll let you look at that at your leisure. All right. So talking about your paper, I gave you the rubric. And in there, in that rubric, it tells you thesis statement, otherwise known as a position statement. Both mean really the same thing. And that is, it is telling your reader up front what you plan to write, okay? And the importance of a thesis statement is this is the roadmap, the position statement as well. This is the roadmap. This is what I can expect out of your paper, okay? And having it does a couple things for you. One is it makes your paper easier to write because now you've got a format you're going through. And the second is it helps your reader out to understand where you're taking it. Okay. I will be honest with you that those papers without a position statement, the author tends to go off on tangents or go down a road. It becomes almost stream of consciousness thinking. And there's nothing more frustrating to read than an essay or a text or a book or anything really, where you have no clue where it's taking. And it becomes very frustrating. And I know you've been frustrated by it. Believe me, you can imagine what it is for an instructor who's grading papers. You only have so much room to work with and so much to put in. So better to get your position statement in. Think about what you're going to write. Lay it out, okay? And remember, in a position statement, it is your conclusion and then the evidence you're going to use to support it. And I'm a 3x5 guy, remember. So 3 to 5 pieces of evidence or critical concepts that back up your position statement. If you tell me in your paper in week 8 that you think you are an effective leader, then 3 to 5 reasons why you say that. I believe I'm an effective leader because, or even don't even say believe, get in more active voice. I am an effective leader because A, I've taken LDR 300. B, the self-insights exam or feedback has told me. C, I fully understand the concept of Fiedler's contingency model. Okay, whatever. All right, this is where you're learning to express yourself in an effective manner. Okay, those papers without a position statement run the risk of what Louis L'Amour, and I'm giving you a copy of his book here, titled Yondering. Okay, he took 2 words, yonder, which is a vernacular meaning somewhere, an objective, a place, and wandering, okay, aimlessly getting to where you're going. And the 2 together becomes aimlessly, weaving, getting to some sort of destination somewhere. Okay, so I'm kind of being a little facetious here. Not kind of being, I am. And getting after this piece of using a good, effective position statement, okay? All right. So in the written assignments, you're developing this ability to express yourself effectively, and that's why I'm getting in there telling you to do a position statement and tighten up a little bit, okay? Make sure you proofread, okay? Make sure you proofread so you can catch these grievous errors. All right. Okay, so let's talk about quiz number 4 real fast. Great job. I mean, holy cow. 12 of you scored perfect. 4 still scored an A-, 3 a B-. want to see. It only had 2 that did not take, and that number is going to improve here in just a little bit. So very good. We're heading in the right direction. Okay, obviously my quizzes are too easy, so I'll have to take a look. Looks like the timing is about right. Looks like nobody's had to run out of time. And in fact, most of you are getting it done in about half the time that's required. So that tells me we're tracking. As always, if more than 3/4 of you miss the same question, I'll take a hard look at it. If more than 3/4 miss it, I'll throw it out. In this particular case, looks like question number 8 had the most trouble. 5 of you missed it, which tells me that wasn't a problem with the question. It was just we didn't get the right answer. So let's take a look. Number 8. Okay, number 8. According to your text, which of the following is true of extrinsic rewards? Okay, so we remember rewards can be extrinsic, meaning they come from others, or they could be intrinsic, meaning they come from within. I can get a reward out of doing a good job by the warm satisfaction of knowing that I did a good job. That's an intrinsic, reward, right? Proud of yourself. Okay, so let's look at our available answers. They are under the control of an individual. No. Remember, control of an individual means intrinsic rewards, not extrinsic. Okay? They come from solving problems to benefit others. No, that's not the case. They appeal to the higher needs of an individual. No, not true of extrinsic rewards. Okay, remember Maslow's hierarchy needs. The higher you get up, the more self-actualized, the more intrinsic you tend to become. So C, they are given by another person, typically a supervisor. Okay, well, yeah, there you go. All right, extrinsic reward, I do a good job, my supervisor sees it, puts me in for a meritorious mask, a letter of commendation, a meritorious service medal, what have you, okay? Everybody good on that? Okay. What else? Number 2, 4, and 6. Leaders should wait for an annual review to no, come on, that's false. You should not wait for an annual review. How would you like to learn annually how well you did in this class? How would you like to learn in December of 2020 what you got in this class? Probably not something you'd be satisfied. And I certainly wouldn't be a very good leader if I did that. Expectancy theory is based on the relationship of the effort, possibility. Yeah, absolutely. Now look at that theory. Dive into that one. There's some great stuff in there because it shows how balance impacts the way people look at rewards, okay? If I have to work hard and I get nothing out of it, then I have really a low expectancy, don't I? Conversely, if I don't have to do anything for it and I get an A, how much am I going to value that A? Okay, so some really good stuff in it. All right. Okay, so our slides then for the upcoming, or for this week, Chapter 9, Leadership Communication, again, getting into methods of communication, questions that we ask, communicating with candor. Okay, great chapter. Keep after this. Do's and don'ts of electronic mail. Boy, that will save a lot of heartache. And then leading teams. Again, you're going to have a follow-on class in your leadership curricula that is all about effective teams. But this gives you a great primer and gives you the foundation for that course. Okay. All right, so I think this went long enough. I'm going to go ahead and stop this. Again, thanks to Clinton for showing up. And for the rest of you, thank you for your time and patience. Let me just make sure that I'm not missing anything here on on our screen. Nope, I think that's it. Okay, hope everybody has a great night and take great care of yourselves. And again, let me know if you need any help. All right, have a good night.